Hello, business family. This is Jay Reynolds, the host of The Business of Black Business. I own Wolf Creek Consulting. We're an executive staffing firm that specializes in placing professionals in finance, accounting, and IT. Guess what? We're here at the Black Enterprise Black Men XCEL Summit. It's an amazing event. If you've never done this before, you absolutely have to come here. It's an amazing event where like-minded Black professionals, entrepreneurs, and from CEOs to you name it, are here basically networking, talking to each other, sharing notes, and sharing resources. It's an amazing opportunity. Tune in. Hello, business family. This is Jay Reynolds. This is the Business of Black Business. And one more time, I'm lucky enough to have a really, really insightful brother to actually interview and pick his brain a little bit. This is Alfred Edmond of Black Enterprise. And I've been lucky enough to interview him a couple of times, but this is special. Today we're at Black Enterprise, Black Men XCEL. So I'm excited to be here. This is my third time being here. And again, brother, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
No, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So talk to us a little bit about, I tell you what, I want to read a quote from you, all right? A quote that says basically, don't mistake fame for wisdom. Don't confuse talent with virtue. I gotta tell you, that struck me. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what were you thinking when you actually penned that comment?
Well, it's something I believed for a long time, in part because of my training as a journalist.
Sure.
You know, you learn early that many of the people that impress you from afar, and then you get to know them in real life, and you find out how human people really are, which is important for you as a journalist in order to maintain some objectivity. You really can't be a fanboy, if you will, even of the people you admire. You want to just be as objective as you can be.
Yeah, you have to see the real. You have to see the real thing.
See the real thing.
Real lenses.
Yeah, but now in the age of social media, when so much of fame and fortune is, amplified, and you have accounts that basically tell you if they're rich, you should believe what they're saying, or if they're famous, you should believe what they're saying. Yeah. And so much of that is just hype. In fact, I host a show for Black Enterprise called Beyond the Hype, and it's about separating. That you can get overwhelmed by these images that tell you that things should be one way when they're not. And one of those things is that if somebody's rich or somebody's famous, that somehow they're better than you, they're more moral than you, they're smarter than you. And those of us who cover successful people know they may be better at a particular thing that they've excelled at, but they're not better human beings. They may not be worse human beings either. They're just human.
And they'll prove that to you time and time
ago. That's why we're often so disappointed when somebody that we really admire, and then they have a negative cycle of life choices, and then we're devastated. But I always remind people, you don't know those people. Yeah. No matter how many times you've seen them on TV, no matter how much you love their music or their movies, you don't know them. Because often we don't even know the people in our own family as well as we think we do, because they're living lives that we don't always are privy to. So it's just a very important lesson, particularly for the people I mentor. I'm big into mentorship, to admire people for their accomplishments and their achievements, but don't extrapolate that to making a moral judgment about who they are as people. They're human beings. I always say I never put anything past anybody, positive or negative. We're capable of the most wonderful things, and we're capable of the most horrible things, and often it's the same person.
And I got to tell you, you can get your heart broken, right?
Yes.
Bill Cosby, and I won't drill down to any of that.
Yeah.
But we watched America get its heart broken over something like the whole.
Well, Bill Cosby is a great example.
Bill Cosby, right?
We got our heart broken by Cliff Huxtable. We forgot that as wonderful and as much as the Cosby Show was driven by values of Bill Cosby.
Yes, exactly.
But Cliff Huxtable is a different person than Bill Cosby.
Exactly.
We don't know Bill Cosby. You don't know the life that he's lived, the worlds he grew up in, the things that shaped his values. And we associate it. So again, that's a great example. Bill Cosby's a great example. I don't know Bill Cosby well enough to judge him or condemn him.
Of course.
But he's not Cliff Huxtable. That's who broke our heart.
That's who broke our heart. Yeah. And you make a very good point. Let's talk about Black Men XCEL.
Yes.
Gosh, this is so amazing, right? Why is this important?
There was no place that Black men could gather to celebrate being Black men. There was no event. Let's think about it. Even our XCEL Awards is the only national award for Black men that aren't tied to either us being athletes singers,
Right.
rappers.
Very
that
good
you
point.
can be a museum director, you can be an artist, you can be a tech person. Yes, you can be an athlete. Yes, you can be an entertainer, but it's about being excellent at whatever you do. And obviously we recognize corporate leaders like Steve Williams and entrepreneurs like Don Peoples this year. And of course, D.L. Hughley. And, So the idea is that we need to be valued and celebrated just for being Black men. And that the world needs to recognize that, our corporate sponsors recognize that, or who are here, that it's not just about we have to perform. We bring value. As I tell people, we're not the problem to be solved. We are the solution.
We are the solution. Absolutely.
And the first place to start with that thing is us believing that of ourselves. It's about us looking at one another as the solution, which Black women do a great job. They look at each other. They look at, it's like, no,
for inspiration. Emulation. I'm with emulation, inspiration.
Yep.
I have a question for you because I really cannot ignore the elephant in the room. Okay. Talk to me a little bit about the feedback or the mood that you're experiencing with all of these brothers here, young and old. Right. Let's talk about what the course of the things that have happened over the last 24 hours or 48 hours. What's the mood? What are people saying to you? What's your feedback?
Well, let me say, we asked that very question. If you go to Black Enterprise on Instagram, there's a series of clips from brothers who were interviewed here to ask them about their feelings.
No kidding.
So I'll weigh in with my thoughts, but you can check that out on the Instagram page of Black Enterprise. Here's the thing. You're right. There was disappointment. 80% of Black men voted for Kamala Harris. Something like 95% of Black women. So clearly, most Black people were disappointed at the outcome. What we're hearing from brothers is that there certainly is initial disappointment whenever the candidate you want to win does not win. But most elections, there's a 50-50 chance that your candidate's not going to win.
That's the way it works.
That's the way it works. And if you're Black in America, you know that sometimes the candidate you're going to win is going to win, sometimes they don't. But no matter which one wins, it doesn't take the work that we have to do to move forward. You know, we learned, well, when President Obama was president, it was good to have a Black man as president. It didn't exactly solve all of our problems.
No, it didn't.
So I think
it
after
might have
the initial,
exacerbated some of it.
in some cases, yes. So the initial disappointment has given way to, okay, now we know what the new environment's going to be the next 4 years. Now let's position ourselves, which is a big part of the discussion at Black Men XCEL. Okay, now we know what the environment may look like over the next 4 years. Now we need to mobilize. We need to decide how we want to engage, how we want to participate, how we want to challenge, because it may be a more challenging environment. That means we're going to have to step up and be challenging ourselves to get the things that we want. D.L. Hughley said this morning something that was very important, that I think is one of the fruits that came out of the Harris campaign. This is the first time a presidential candidate actually had to do a conversation about what is my plan for Black men. We have never seen that in history, not under Clinton, not under Obama, not under Bush. There's nowhere.
It was put on the table. For everybody to see.
Yes.
And to debate.
And
on
to
both
discuss
sides,
and debate.
On both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, Alfred, I can always talk to you for a very, very long time. I enjoy our conversations and I always feel like I learned something from you. But I run out of time. I can talk to you for some more.
I got to come back like always.
Absolutely. Let's do that. I promise you, I'll reach out to whomever we need to reach out to because I would love to talk to you again. Because some other things I want to talk about building Black leadership and building the next generation of leaders. And to a big extent, Black Enterprise is on cutting edge of that, the tip of the spear.
That's the business we're in. We're told that every day. That's our real business.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Appreciate it, sir.
Oh, so much my pleasure. Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
We just completed our conversation with Alfred Edmond, and we're lucky enough to have his boss, Earl Butch Graves, and I'm really looking forward to that conversation, the president and CEO of Black Enterprise. We'll be right back.
Was my name Tina Turner.
Tina, the Tina Turner musical. The mega hit comes direct from Broadway. See her triumphant story and be ecstatically blown away. Everybody everywhere should come see Rafe's New York Magazine. Coming to the Arch Center January 14th through 19th. Tickets at archcenter.org.
Hi, I'm William Berry, the CEO of Able Business Services. We are proud to be the sponsor of the Business of Black Business. Able Business Services is a family-owned and operated business with more than 30 years of experience. We are proud to be South Florida's choice for commercial business and residential services. We provide janitorial services, landscaping services, and chemicals for both the residential and commercial businesses. Our household chemical division includes such items as hand soap, laundry detergent, Lysol, hand sanitizer, window, grill cleaners, and various strengths of all-purpose cleaners. Our vehicle products include such items as wash and wax, tire and wheel shine, upholstery cleaners, and various air fresheners and fragrances. Also, we are one of the only 2 Black-owned propane dispensaries in the state of Florida. Able Business Services is the largest Black-owned employer and one of the largest privately owned Black businesses in South Florida. We want to do business with you.
Welcome back, business family, and we're here. Unbelievably, have the opportunity to interview Earl Butch Graves. Mr. Graves, thank you very much for being here. I really, really appreciate you taking the time. I know you wear a bunch of hats, so this goes a long way. But I just want to say a couple of quick things. That basically, when I remember buying my first house, right, and one of the things that we were talking about doing is on our coffee table, what to put on the coffee table, right? Black Enterprise magazine was the thing that I put on my coffee table. That's a long, long time ago, and a lot has changed since then. But, I know you hear this all the time, but I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
First of all, what I would like to do is talk a little bit about who you are, okay? Everybody knows your background. You're a household word, obviously, but who are you and why?
Well, that's a great question. I would say at the end of the day, I'm a second generation entrepreneur. I was blessed to have a mother and father who had started a Black-owned business, Black Enterprise, and I grew passionate about the opportunity to impact the lives of entrepreneurs, especially young entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a father of 4. Not children, but they are now young adults.
Right.
And they make me very proud every day, and that they're gainfully employed and doing different things. But
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, I think what I want people to know about me is that I'm unapologetically focused on what's good for us as African Americans.
And I really want to talk about that. As an entrepreneur myself, I own a staffing company, and a big part of what's important to me is what happens after I'm gone, our legacy. What's your mission? What do you see yourself? What do you see your mission today after being involved in Black Enterprise for almost 40 years, 35 years or so?
Yeah. I think that two things. One, my mission is to make sure that the business that my father started back in 1970, and I've worked in since 1988, so
Mm-hmm.
it's 36 years.
President 2006. Yeah, I got you.
That I am leaving a business to my children that number one, is a profitable business,
Mm-hmm.
and where they can earn a living and
Provide for their family.
and provide for their families. But 2, and more importantly, they have the same passion and commitment towards helping the lives of other African Americans. And so while I'm invested in Black Enterprise, Black Enterprise has opened up the opportunity for me to be invested in other businesses and other things that quite honestly make more money for me and for my family than does Black Enterprise. But I also recognize the importance of Black Enterprise in that it is providing inspiration for young people to see
what they can become. As the saying goes, if you can't see it, you can't become it.
Right.
And so we put on conferences like this, like a Black Men XCEL Summit, so they can meet and see people like Don Peoples. They can see a person like Steve Williams. They can find out what it is to move forward in corporate America, or to get on a corporate board, how you would go about doing that. So the mission, the passion for me is, yes, I want the company to be profitable, and yes, I want it to make money, but I also feel a responsibility. We have 50 employees, that I'm responsible for 50 employees and their families.
Right.
And I want to make sure that those employees and those families have an opportunity for them to be able to provide to their own offspring and their children and grandchildren and the like. And I think it feeds upon itself, right? I think this business is not just fulfilling from a financial perspective.
Sure.
It is fulfilling for me to get an opportunity to sit and talk with people like yourselves, to interact with young entrepreneurs and those who are, making things happen and getting things done, and seeing that this next generation has the same opportunity that was provided to me. Because in its absence, we will become nothing more than an asterisk.
A blip,
right?
blip in time.
And
absolutely.
We've got to make sure that we have a responsibility to pass on to the next generation what we've had the benefit of.
And I got to tell you, that's exactly the reason why we do the Business of Black Business, is to provide a look back, or an opportunity for iron to sharpen iron, right? One of the things, this is my third time coming to this conference. It's the first time I've ever come with Legacy Magazine, but I can tell you I've watched it grow. And the other thing that I can tell you, quite frankly, is the fact that I've watched almost high school kids interact with people that have been in corporate America for 50 years, 40, 50 years. It's an amazing cross-section of people that attend this thing, and iron sharpens iron. It gives people the opportunity to be able to pick other people's brains and kind of bounce ideas off. And I think that's huge. One of the last questions I want to ask you is, what would you say to your younger self? What would you tell your younger self?
Good question. I think what I would tell my younger self is to recognize that things are not as critical as I thought that they were when I was a younger person, right? I mean, you treat everything like it's life and death. Like, oh my God, I didn't get this contract.
Right,
the
end of the world. Right?
I won't be able to exist beyond this.
Yeah.
But as you get older and you get more seasoned, you realize what's really important are relationships, family, people, other things. And I think sometimes young people get too caught up in trying to chase a fast dollar. And there is no shortcuts. My father used to say that all the time. There is no shortcuts to success. There are no shortcuts to success, Butch. It's a marathon. You have to be in it. And it's like investing. Our tagline with the company is wealth for life. And so what I'm trying to position and teach young people and teach African Americans is build wealth over time, right? Wealth is not, did I lease a BMW and have it in my driveway so I can impress somebody, whatever. Right. Wealth is about investing in the stock market and owning something and building equity in companies and building equity in businesses. That is true wealth, right? Because wealth is assets minus liabilities. Wealth is having the wherewithal to own a home outright.
Yes.
And then be able to pass on something to the next generation, and owning insurance and all the other things. And so if there's anything that I can implore upon the African American community and young African American entrepreneurs, is that the need for you to build multi-generational wealth is the greatest thing that you can pass on to your children and your grandchildren. It's not going to be that I have a fancy watch I can pass on, or some other things, what have you. It's going to be that I have been able to build wealth and multi-generational wealth that will help my grandchildren be able to go to college, and my great-grandchildren to be able to do things, because that's what's happened in the white community. Yeah. And in the white community, they have generation after generation after generation of wealth, And then they wonder why, and the kids start on third base. And
Yeah,
meanwhile, we're still in the
absolutely.
dugout waiting for at-bats.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Maybe
but
the at-bat,
right,
yeah.
maybe to get an at-bat. And the reality is much of that has happened through their understanding and gaining a better understanding at a younger age of the need to pass on wealth. So that's the, it's not did I get a high salary? It's not do you have a fancy car? It's not any of those things. Those are all short-term things. Build wealth slowly, and pass on to the next generation. And that's the greatest gift you can give to your descendants.
You've answered a whole lot of the questions that I actually had written down for myself. I just have one more and I'll let you go because I know you have a lot to do. I was really lucky to have Bill Picard in my life as a mentor. I'm sure you know Bill's name or whatever,
Yep.
but Bill Picard was a real mentor for me. And one of the things that he always said to me was, your network will be your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about how important it is to build a working network of people like Don talked about earlier today in his panel.
Bill Picard was a tremendous businessman and has done a number of different things that are legendary in regards to understanding and passing on wealth and building a significant business. But I would say to you that the single most important thing that I remember my father when I was thinking about going to college, and I had my own, and I was a fairly good basketball player.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I think I want to go here, and I'm going to go to these schools. And I was evaluating all the things, but I was evaluating everything off of, basketball.
Yeah.
And do they play on TV? And
Right.
what do the cheerleaders look like? And how good is the food? And
the NBA scouts coming around.
right. I mean, just dumb stuff, but things that I thought were important. And my father kept saying to me, he said, listen, but none of those things are important to me. So I had my list of schools, he had his list of schools. And when we sat down with my mother, nothing I had on my list. My mother said, put on a list of schools. Here's a list of schools you want to go to, here's a list of schools, and why. Mm-hmm. And then you have your father put down his list of schools and why. And she looked at the two lists, and she cross-referenced, and she said, there is absolutely nothing in common. You don't have any schools in common, you don't have any reasons in common. So I said, well, let me humor Dad. I said, what possibly is on your list? And he said, these are the 8 schools that I want you to consider. And they were all Ivy League schools. And I was like, Dad, that's just not going to happen.
Right. They don't play basketball.
They have that, but they're not.
Yeah.
At warm weather, there's no hot chicks there. There's no NBA. They're not playing on TV. I said, that's just not going to happen. And he said, I said, but what are the reasons? And he said, and so his 5 reasons. He wrote, contacts. Number 4 said academics. Number 5 said C's number 1, 2, and 3.
Wow.
And so the network being your net worth. So I ended up going, so all my schools got dismissed. I ended up going to Yale undergrad. But what it taught me is that it is who you know. Mm-hmm. And it is, who you know and what you know is what's going to make the difference in terms of where your relationship is going to be. And so my network, which I have worked very hard to extend my network, has helped to build up my net worth. And I utilize it to this day, and I give the same guidance to my own kids.
First of all, again, I just want to thank you for taking the time to do this. We're at the Black Enterprise, Black Men XCEL, and we get the unique opportunity to actually speak with the CEO. Thank you very much for taking your time to do this, because it's a unique opportunity for people to hear your thoughts from you, not from something they read. And I really appreciate that. This is the Business of Black Business, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
All I wanted was my name. Tina Turner.
Tina, the Tina Turner Musical. The mega hit comes direct from Broadway. See her triumphant story and be ecstatically blown away. Everybody everywhere should come see Rape's New York Magazine. Coming to the Arch Center January 14th through 19th. Tickets at archcenter.org.
Hi, I'm William Berry, the CEO of Able Business Services. We are proud to be the sponsor of the Business of Black Business. Able Business Services is a family-owned and operated business with more than 30 years of experience. We are proud to be South Florida's choice for commercial business and residential services. We provide janitorial services, landscaping services, and chemicals for both the residential and commercial businesses. Our household chemical division includes such items as hand soap, laundry detergent, Lysol, hand sanitizer, window, grill cleaners, and various strengths of all-purpose cleaners. Our vehicle products include such items as wash and wax, tire and wheel shine, upholstery cleaners, and various air fresheners and fragrances. Also, we are one of the only 2 Black-owned propane dispensaries in the state of Florida. Able Business Services is the largest Black-owned employer and one of the largest privately owned Black businesses in South Florida. We want to do business with you.
Business family, this has been an amazing couple of days, right? Black enterprise, Black Men XCEL, lean in and learn. We got the opportunity to talk to what I believe to be juggernauts in the space, people that have actually made a difference in our communities, as well as become benchmarks as it relates to building businesses in our community. I just want to thank Legacy Magazine for making this happen. I want to thank the guys behind the guys behind the scenes that actually make this happen. Thank you, Rashad. Thank you, Joe, for making this all come together. This has been an amazing 2 days, and I believe that I personally have grown as a result of being here. So we'll see you next time, business family. This is the Business of Black Business. My name is Jay Reynolds.